welcome to this new tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to create a public repository. Please, before you move on, don't forget to subscribe. So how to create a public repository. Now, let's talk about what is even a repository on GitHub. So a repository on GitHub is just a simple bucket where you can put code, right? A repository on GitHub is just a simple bucket where you can put code. I want to say where you can put code, meaning that you can put file and or directory. So we'll deep dive into this. But before we start talking about this, let's go ahead and just see how to create a simple public repository. So before I create a simple repository, you need to go on GitHub. You need to make sure you log in. So it's www.github.com. Then you log in. You can go ahead here, log in. Now, there are multiple ways that you can use to create a repository. To create any repository, right? Any public or private repository. But on this video, we are talking only on the public repository. So it's simple. You just have to come here. You can see this new. You can click on this logo, the GitHub logo here. You come here, you click new. Now here, this is just your username. You can have multiple username here. Now here, you can go ahead and type anything. Let's say you want to create a repository called, for example, teaching. Then we can give a repository description. It is optional. This repository is made only to cheat student, for example. Now, here, you need to make sure you are creating a public repository. A public repository means that it is a repository that everybody can see. Everybody that has a GitHub account can see that repository. So that's a public repository. So it is a repository that everybody that has a GitHub account can see that repository, and they can also clone that repository, meaning that they can copy that repository to their virtual machine without any credential. That's why it's public, meaning that everybody have access to that. You can add a README file here, and if you want also to add any ignore, but keep it simple for now, you can add a license. So just click here on the README file. So you can go ahead here, you add a README file, and you create that repository. That's it. When you create a repository, this is what you have here. So you have that repository actually created here, and this is the README file that we actually put inside here, right? So the repository has been created. If you want to go back to your repository, remember, it is their support. Their support is actually your username / your repository. So if you want to go back to your repository, you click here, right? When you go back to your repository, you click here. That was one way to create a repository, right? Another way, if I click here, it takes me home. Remember, this is the dashboard. Another way to create a repository is that when you click to the dashboard, you can come here to create a repository as well. Earlier, we click here to open a repository. I can also click here to open a repository. So I can come here and say here, public, right? And then I enter the repository name here. Let's call it teaching 2. Let's call it teaching 2. For example, we keep it public, then we create that repository. Then this will require now you using something called Git, which we're going to talk about later on, like using Git, the CLI tool, and everything. So that's also one way you can do to create a repository. But if you use this, you will have to actually go on your terminal and do some manipulation for that to work. Another way for you to create a repository, for example, I'm not going to create that one because we haven't talked about Git. Another way to go ahead and create a repository is that you come here where your username is, then you can come down here and look for your repositories here. You will open here, you see these two, then, right? Then you can click here on new, and you can also add your profile, something to your profile here. For example, if you want. So here, right? So let me go ahead and add something to the profile. I can do that later on. New. Then you can say probability teaching 3. It will take you to the same public, add a README. Then you create here. That's another repository. So if you want to see all your repositories, if you want to see, let's say click here. When you click here, it shows you recent repository. But if you want to see all your repository, you come down here, you click on your repositories, it will show you all your repositories. So on this account, I have 4 repositories. That was it. I hope you like it. See you on the next video. Please don't forget to subscribe, and you can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. Bye.